And we're back after a brief break. You're watching South Texas Now here on our CBS affiliate, NBC affiliate, CW, and all other stations that are graciously allowing us to play. And also on social media, you can catch us, follow us, like us. You can also catch us on LinkedIn. And the message goes on and on ad nauseum. So we're here with Mayra Zamora, and a great artist, not only here in our region, but in the United States and the world. And you've seen pictures, but Bill will be our great executive producer, shall be sending you out images as we interview Mayra, and we do have a little bit of time, under 12 minutes, so remainder. So let's get started. Welcome back, Mayra.
All right, ya estoy lista.
Yes, qué bueno. Qué bueno es que estás lista y preparada. I left off on your process, and one of the things, the messages that you left is it's never too late. From 3 years old to 85, art affects us all. I've had the opportunity to go to the Louvre in Paris 3 times, and it took me 3 times to see it from tail end to end, and I still couldn't take it all in. It was it was very, very, it was a lot.
I hope the viewers saw my face reaction right now. That was a face of jealous, because I've always wanted to go.
And you will go. And
Yes,
you will go.
yes.
I'll make sure of it. I wanted to ask you about your process there, and anything that's intellectual property, you'll have to answer to me if you try to rip Mayra off, which has happened to artists before. Everybody out there, if you want to have a drawing or anything, here's how you can do it. Send it to the National Library of Congress and pay under a couple $100, and you've got your copyright. And that is one of the ways that you can preserve your idea. And of course, there's more to it, but it can sure stand in there. So, quick legal tip, but this does not constitute legal advice. I've talked way too much. Mayra, the floor is yours. Tell us about your process when you begin a project. It's hard to describe, I know, and it's not a cookie cutter formula, but talk to us a little bit about it.
Earlier, you had mentioned style, and that's one thing that all the greats that have passed, they have this particular style. And I think once you're familiar with my work, you'll be like, oh, that's a Mayra Zamora. So I always like to tell people that my work is a mixture of pre-Columbian and modern art mixed together, and that is ultimately me. But the process, I just let the wall speak to me. I know, as crazy as that sounds, I just look at the wall, and I just let the ideas come to me. My work is so stylized, and you very rarely will ever see any curves in my work. I don't know where that came from, but I think a lot has to do because the world is so chaotic right now that I feel like the only thing that I can control 100% is what I do, my artwork, and nobody can take that away from me.
And what would you describe your type of art as being? I don't know a lot about art, so please educate me and educate our viewers.
Well, for now, I like to classify myself as a Chicana artist. And because right now, shout out to Cheech Marin, this weekend will be the unveiling public for the first ever Chicano art museum in America.
And you said that a little fast, so let's slow her down.
Sorry.
What is the name of the museum?
So Cheech Marin is unveiling and opening to the public this weekend the first ever Chicano art museum in the United States.
Wonderful.
It's his private collection, but it's in Riverside, California.
Will it be simultaneously broadcast on YouTube, or is there a channel that we can watch the unveiling? Could we have a link, or is there a page that Mr. Marin has?
Yes, it's actually on Instagram, and I think it's just I have to double check the Instagram.
Of course.
But it's I forgot, the Cheech Marin Museum or something like that.
I'd love to just, you leave that with Bill when you have an opportunity, our executive producer and our great cinematographer. If you leave that with him, I'd love for people to be able to share that. Tell us more about that museum, and will you be a part of it?
I will not be a part of it yet. I will say that one day I will be and hopefully grace the walls of that museum.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I have had the opportunity to meet Mr. Cheech about 3 times when he has come to Corpus Christi. Even I would love to share this story with the viewers if that's okay. I got the opportunity one time to actually pick up Mr. Marin from the hotel. He got in my messy car with his wife, Natasha, and I got to take him to the taqueria where he met some fellow Corpus Christi artists, Joe Peña and Ricardo Ruiz, for lunch. So I was trying to be very cool, but inside I was freaking out. As soon as he left, I geeked out.
Yes. There is a museum that is quite beautiful downtown near Flanagan's, and I think there's a beautiful wall there of chalupas.
The Loteria.
La Loteria.
The
As we used
K-Space
to
Contemporary.
say in my household, vamos a jugar chalupas. Let's play chalupas by Loteria. So each, to explain to the people not familiar with the culture, it's a card game, and it each has like the skeleton, la calavera, and it has the mermaid, la sirena, and it has all these wonderful things.
I love playing Loteria. That's a big component of family gatherings.
Did you paint any of that or have input?
I did.
Really?
So originally it started with Dia de los Muertos inside of the gallery at K-Space Contemporary. From there, they selected the artists that were going to be a part of the Loteria mural. So in total, there's 48 artists that participated, and I am one of the few that actually has 2 Loteria cards on there, which is La Tabla y El Sol.
And if you could get those into Bill's hands, I'd love for people to look at a sample of your art. But realism is some of that, of your art. What other art do you create?
I do. During COVID, believe it or not, I ended up buying an iPad and an iPen because I didn't go anywhere. I became a hermit. I just stayed in my cave the entire process of the pandemic. So people nowadays are like, where you been, Mayra? ¿Dónde has estado? I said, I've been cooped up in my apartment. So I ended up picking up digital illustration and starting just playing around. And I'm becoming obsessed with it because I want to create a coloring book now that I'm getting better. And I want to do it for the students for Uvalde. So I already have a sponsorship with A&P, and they're going to help print out the coloring books.
Thank you for that. The tragedy that happened in Uvalde, I saw Matthew McConaughey addressing the media at the White House. And thank you, Matthew. I know that was your hometown. And to all of those people in Uvalde and who have family in Uvalde, my deepest condolences and regrets for such a senseless tragedy. And we shoulder on, we accompany them with their grief, and hopefully your contribution will make sure that nobody ever forgets such a horrible and senseless massacre.
Right. And then I also would love to dedicate a weekend and do a summer camp for the kids as well, because I know they're looking for things to do. And this, for me, this would be a way for them to have new positive memories going along. Are they ever going to forget the tragedy? Never. It's going to be a part of them, but we need to find new ways to put their hurt but onto paper, whether it's art, writing, dancing, music, whatever.
I agree. This is something that kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about, is that we incarcerate more people in the United States than anyone else in the world. We put on, sentences on people that are triple those of Sweden, France, England. Our mass incarceration has become a for-profit endeavor. We're even on the stock exchange. So where is, in my opinion, I don't want to get on my soapbox, but I've met many artists that have been incarcerated, and that time that they're there are great artists. People have sent me paintings of the work that they have done. Clients have sent me works of art, and I think Bill can catch a picture of that here in a minute. A client created that for me, and I was most moved for a positive result that I got. But Have you ever visited or worked with people that have been incarcerated and worked with them on projects?
I have not, but I have been to the juvenile centers here in town.
Yes.
And I can't remember what, we went and they participated in Fish for Life, so they got to participate in a contest. So I was one of the judges, me and Monica Marie Garcia.
What is your long-term dream? Thank you for staying in this community. I have been tempted to leave the community in some ways, but now with COVID, I don't have to. I have business in Chicago. I'll do it by Zoom. I have business in Los Angeles, or it's made it okay, and sure cut down on expenses for travel.
I bet.
But I am visiting Chicago here pretty quick in person. But what is your dream? Where do you see yourself in 5, 10, 15 years with the grace of God that we keep on living?
I know exactly, because you don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow these days. But I have many dreams. But I know one of my biggest dreams right now, especially coming into the fall, because I will no longer be working at ECDC because they cut the art program. I took it as a blessing from the universe, saying that I'm going to be a full-time muralist. I'm going to give that a shot. People are like, well, I thought you do murals already for full-time. I said, no, because I'm teaching, I'm doing other things. But a lifelong, I think my legacy would definitely be developing either a nonprofit or a profit business, and incorporating, always having my teenagers with me. There's so many programs geared to elementary students, and that's great. But then what happens to our teenagers? There's very few programs here in town, because that's when I feel we lose our kids. That's when they start venturing out, going to certain groups. So I always want them to come with me and be like, whether you want to pursue the arts or not, you're going to buy a house one day, right? And they're like, yes. So I want them to also support local artists. But that's the legacy I want to leave behind, is just inspiring the next generation of artists, especially young Black and brown kids, telling them that they can do it. You just have to stick to the path, and you have to go for it, because being an artist, you're basically independent, and you're your own boss, you're your own jefa. So
I'm formally inviting you to anything you want to start. I am one of the founding members of Education is Our Freedom, along with Joe Benavides and the judge and Commissioner Joey Gonzalez, the three Joes, if you will. And then I have my own Latinos for Education nonprofit. So any way that I can help you make your own. If people want to contribute right now and help with your effort and your movement in helping save children through art, how can they contact you best? Through email, through your page? Where can they find you?
I would say at my email, miramayraart@yahoo.com. But I'm very much always on social media, on Instagram, at miramayraart.
And you'll leave that correct spelling with Bill. We'll put everything on there along with a picture of it. We're out of time, but I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a distinct pleasure.
Thank
and
you.
I hope anything about art, you will be our expert and come on and join us.
Oh, you're not going to get rid of me now, Joe.
Thank you.
I will be very ecstatic to come back.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
De nada, y aquí estamos a servirle. We want to thank our audience. We're out of time. Thank you, and God bless.